How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
A 14-year-old whose name literally translates to descending from the sun illuminated last night like few men have in the history of the IPL. We continue to remain in awe of what Vaibhav Suryavanshi pulled off on Monday, alleviating all of our Monday blues, even as we turn our attention to two teams who have been feeling the blues of late. Defending champions Kolkata Knight Riders know that their title defence is on thin ice. They are now in the capital to take on Delhi, who have seen their own season stutter a bit after a flying start. Build-up to the contest starts now on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Good evening to you all, and good evening to these fine gentlemen on our couch. Daren, Ganga, Ambati Rayudu, Wasim, Jaffer, welcome back to all of you.
Thank you.
Let us start with Daren Ganga, who was on the ground at Savai Mansingh to witness history being made. Can you confirm to us that that really happened?
It did. It was like a fairy tale story, and I'm sure he's probably waking up every morning beyond that innings and asking himself, did I just accomplish that feat of scoring a 35-ball century in the IPL in only what, his third match or so?
Yeah.
So what I can say about that innings, it was a fearless innings, an innings that was built on ferocious power, at times a little bit reckless, ultra aggressive. But again, what impressed me the most was the way he took on bowlers from the onset. There was no getting himself in. Pretty much consistent to what we saw when he made his debut. The first ball, he smacked it out of the ground. The other thing that was very impressive is he was up against one of India's best bowlers, Mohammad Siraj, and he was whacking him out the ground. Then came Rashid Khan, and he treated him with that similar disdain. So he was not playing the player, he was playing the situation, he was backing his skill and ability, and there was a clear mindset about the way he approached batting. He didn't try to only hit to one side. He played a couple lovely shots over cover. But the one thing you felt that he had, which was different from any of the other young batters, was that very high back lift, that commitment to the swing, a very clean, unrestricted swing when he is going on the attack. And more often than not, the ball came off the middle of the bat. So I'm so happy that he was able to do that. It has just sparked a new interest in this season's starter IPL. And I guess this is the new generation of Indian players who can hit sixes out the ground and not necessarily look to hit the ball along the carpet to score runs.
All right. Try to allow me to go to Wasim Jaffer here, because Wasim, you've been in touch with the boy wonder. He's reached out to you, I've heard, over the years. How do you chart, A, his route to coming here, and also what he managed last night?
Yeah, I mean, I first had a glimpse of him in 2023 November. I think it was the quadrangular tournament when I was the batting coach of Bangladesh under-19s. This boy was selected. India had two teams, A and B. So he was part of that team. He was 13 then. So he was selected. I mean, that itself is a great story. A 13-year boy playing under-19 cricket. And then he smashed 70 against us. So you could see that, had a bit of spark. And he was very pleasing to the eye. He didn't play like he did yesterday. He played pretty conventionally. And then since then he stayed in touch. He used to drop in text messages every now and then. He did that before his IPL debut. And I told him like, the elder statesman, that take 6, 7, 8 balls. You're probably playing for first time under 30, 40,000 crowd. Take a bit of time. That adrenaline rush probably will be there to take a bit of time. Get settled down, so you don't want to make mistake, feeling the pressure of the situation. And he ended up hitting the first ball for 6. So I asked him after the game, I said, I give you advice the other way. He said, I felt confident. I mean, this is the new generation. And then again, he messaged me after this game. I thought he was anyway going to play. He probably thought he's not going to play. Maybe Sanju was getting fit or something. He said, sir, I'm playing this game. So I just said, go out and play. That's what I've been telling him. I mean, I could make out that he's a very free-flowing player. He even messaged me before his Ranji Trophy debut. Sometimes I feel the younger players, when they play different format, they feel like they want to change something. They need to play differently. And I always advised him to play his natural game. Obviously, the adaptability is one thing, but, you don't want to curb that natural instinct of his. And his instinct is to attack the ball. And I'm so pleased to see him. I mean, leave alone his 14-year-old boy, anybody, even if it's a 24 or even 34-year-old guy, getting a 35 ball 100 is a big achievement in itself. But for somebody from Bihar, Samastipur, to do that at the age of 14 is just incredible.
Yeah, and not reining himself in is perhaps such an important part of this story. One of Vaibhav Suryavanshi's coaches is part of the broadcast on the JioStar network, and he was telling me how even now, after that 100 as well, the routines were the same. He still called him as soon as he got to the hotel. Obviously, the biggest smile he's probably ever seen on his face, but also mentioned how Rahul Dravid had made it very clear to Suryavanshi in the days even before he got his debut cap that you will get a game, and I want you to play the way you play. There's no changing what you do.
I think it's incredible. I mean, to see a 14-year-old, I know I've been in touch with the coach at broadcasting. Yeah. We meet quite often over dinner. And he got out to Bhuvi, if you remember, of a slow ball. So he asked me, should I be telling him something? I said, no, boss, you're not telling him anything. Especially at this age, you're not telling him anything. It's better to just leave someone alone and, let them learn on their own. Because sometimes once you put thoughts in their head, you will be restricting their potential. So I think it is incredible, and it is a joy for any Indian to witness what has happened the previous night. So I think it's only good that a lot of young boys all over the country will now be hopeful that they can really make it big at a young age. I think he has shown the way, and it's a great positive sign for Indian cricket.
Yeah, and all of you spoke about how this reflects a generational shift. I think as much as it is for the players, it also reflects a shift in the coaches and the seniors, because one generation previously, and you guys could probably agree with me, if you didn't follow what your coach told you, that was the end of it. But now we have people, coaches, seniors, who are so happy that he didn't listen to your advice and went and smashed it. Vaibhav Suryavanshi, what a story this is. We can only hope this is just the starting chapter of something truly special. 14 years, 32 days. It's still unbelievable to imagine the age. But now we turn our attention to the game on hand. Match number 48 at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Delhi Capitals have won the toss and they will bowl first at the Kotla against Kolkata Knight Riders. Let's take a look at the points table to just illustrate how important this contest and the games coming up are for all these sides. Of course, what Suryavanshi did last night ensures that Rajasthan aren't mathematically knocked out yet. It will take a stretch. They can reach 14 points and they'll need a lot of things to go their way. But you have all teams still alive. And as far as Delhi and Kolkata go, the Knight Riders sit fourth from bottom. They got that no result against Punjab. Wonder who would have thought that is a point lost among those two teams. But they have their task cut out. Not much room for error. And Delhi, who've sat in the top two for most of the season, presently find themselves in fourth place at home, and at home is where perhaps their season has started to stutter a bit, because they won their first 4 games, did Delhi, and after that, since they've reached the Kotla, they've played 3 games here, lost 2, won 1 only via a super over, and we've seen that the surface hasn't necessarily suited their batting. Is that a sentiment you agree with, or is there more to it?
I mean, yeah, we've not seen the scores that we've seen last year. Last year was a very high-scoring games in Kotla, so something is not the same like last year. So teams have found 180, 190 kind of a score, a match-winning one. The batters have found it difficult, even in the last game. But for that, I think the batters need to apply themselves a lot more. We've seen Delhi struggle in the last game. KL. For the kind of form that he was in, he also struggled. So you need somebody to play that role of, getting that 70 or 80 and ensuring that his team reaches 170, 175. That is probably what Kolkata will be looking at. It's definitely not the same, but what we've seen last year.
Yeah, there are lots of pieces to examine here. But before we do that, we just want to represent what the numbers tell us about how Delhi's batters are faring at the Kotla compared to what we've seen through the rest of the season. And it paints a picture in itself. Not only are they scoring much slower, and this is in particular the middle overs where they have struggled. They're scoring slower, they're losing more wickets, there's a big gulf in the balls per boundary. And what that's meant is that a team that was scoring nearly 100 runs through the middle 10 and has been doing that outside of Delhi has barely scored 80 And in the last game, Rayudu, that figure was 65 for 2, which was such a big factor. So what have you made of how Delhi's batters are going about their business on what is a trickier surface?
No, I think, see, you can excuse Faf du Plessis because he was just coming in. But other batsmen, especially the openers, I would say Purell should bat through when he has a start. Because on a wicket like that, if somebody gets set, especially you being an opener or a number 3, it is your job to play those middle overs. Because you can play at a much better strike rate than a new guy coming in. No doubt KL Rahul, I wouldn't say struggled a little bit, but he also might be looking at the depth of his batting lineup where the impact player was not yet announced. Vipraj Nigam was their number 7. So, he might be just looking at that. But definitely you need to up your tempo in the middle overs. You need to take your chances. You need to take that little bit of extra risk. Step out and hit someone or sweep the ball or, be busy in the middle. You can't play at this strike rate.
Daren, we use the term sluggish, but that's also only comparative. Because yes, last season we saw Kotla where the average first innings total, I believe, was 230. It is still a pitch which has 160, 180 in it. The first game saw 200 from Mumbai, almost chased down. Is it also a function of batters perhaps getting too used to the luxury of belters and then finding it hard to adapt?
100%. I think if you listen to what Virat Kohli had to say before the start of this season, he spoke about the great challenge for batters, being able to conquer the varying conditions when you move from venue to venue, match to match. So I think that's an important part of success as a batter in T20 cricket. Apart from having the repertoire of strokes to play a 360 degrees type game, you still need to align that with the conditions that you're met with the game situation. So that to me is a component of the game we don't often talk about, but that is where I think DC could probably strengthen their batting effort. The other thing that I wanted to say is they've had some challenges with that opening pair. And those challenges are now being transferred into the middle phase. So guys who are batting in that middle phase have to make up for the challenge of that power play phase. So it's not an easy fix. I think if the openers fire, it makes it a lot easier. But again, I don't like to use the word someone to anchor the innings because I think the game has gone on from anchoring the innings. I really think that top 3 batters should try to bat in multiple phases of the innings. That's the way I'd like to put it because I think you're expected to score at about 150 strike rate. And sometimes you can sort of gear that down if the situation like the one we saw with RCB in that run chase where Virat Kohli had a little more time and he had to respect the conditions a little bit more. So that is where your batsmanship sort of skill comes into the picture. And there is where I feel DC could strengthen their batting, but you look at them, they're a team that have the buffer to also win a game, even if they score a subpar total, because of how strong their bowlers are in this side. So I don't think that they have a great problem. The fact that they haven't lost 2 consecutive matches tells you that they're a team that could rebound. They take stock of where their errors are, and they remedy those errors for the next challenge.
Given what Daren brings up, and it's an important part in Delhi's story about the top order, the openers, they've had some changes, Faf missed a few games. How much of the onus lies on KL Rahul, and what do you think he'll need to do differently? Because we've seen him have very different returns in the 3 games in Delhi compared to what we've seen from him elsewhere.
Well, I feel now that today they are going to chase, so I feel that number 4 position is ideal for him because he can, set that tempo according to the chase, which he's done that so really well this season. But I feel sometimes when DC is batting first, I don't mind him going at number 3 and play that aggressive brand of cricket, which he does so really well. But sometimes he just holds himself, and Karun can bat number 4. So that's what I would like to see. KL being promoted to number 3 when they are batting first. So, he can go in and use that power play if he's in the power play and take on the spinners as well and then play according to the situation. But today I think number 4 probably is the right position for him.
I absolutely agree because we want KL Rahul to play the maximum number of balls and especially against a new ball he can get set by hitting some good quality cricketing shots and then play spin, which makes it much more easier for him. And Karun Nair is a very good player of spin bowling, so he can always drop down a number and do what KL is doing right now. So Karun has the experience as well, if you look at it.
All right, let's confirm how Delhi are lining up. They are going unchanged by the looks of it. Yes, we can confirm that. This is the same side they had from their last game, which was against RCB. They, of course, batted first in that one. Now they're chasing. You've got the complement of 5 bowlers, Aksar Patel, and they will have their options in the chase. Ashutosh Sharma, you'd imagine, is the likeliest to come out. And yeah, so no changes to Delhi's setup. Let's also take you through how Kolkata Knight Riders are lining up. And there is a change over there. They've clearly taken heed to the surface and how it's favoured spin. And Anukul Roy gets a game. Haven't seen him this season so far. Vaibhav Arora doesn't feature. He's on the bench. This is KKR's batting first 11. So that is a lot of depth. And you imagine, Wasim, that's a change to do with conditions. They wanted a third spinner in there.
Yeah, definitely conditions based, and you don't see Ramandeep as well there. So Vaibhav and Ramandeep.
Yeah, Ramandeep had gone out in the last game when they got Robman Powell and Chetan Sakaria in. So Sakaria is now back out.
Yeah.
And Ramandeep continues to sit out. Is that bowling mix tells you that KKR expect a certain surface here?
Yeah, and also, they lost a little bit of confidence by, in their bowling. If you look at that, they want another spinner. So they want 12 overs of spin. I mean, they have the personnel to win against any team in the IPL. They have so many match winners amongst the 11. I just feel they just not been able to get the combination right.
Seriously deep batting lineup though, because you see the 2 West Indians at 7 and 8, and then Anukul Roy who can bat a bit too.
No, well, the only thing that I'll say about that batting lineup, if you look at what has happened all season, Andre Russell, Rinku Singh, Ramandeep, they haven't really gotten a lot of balls to bat this season. And I feel that is where the modern T20 game maybe has to shift a little bit more. And like we just spoke about, KL Rahul batting at number 3 instead of number 4, given the situation, given the fact that they're batting first. If they're batting first, use him in that role. I sometimes feel that the game warrants for guys like Tristan Sub, like an Andre Russell, to at times come a little bit higher, give them the opportunity to bat more balls, because the game has gone to the point where you don't really carry one role specifically again in the game. You have bowlers who are all-phase bowlers, so you should have batters who are all-phase or at least multiple-phase batters too. I'd hate to see what we are seeing happening with a Shimron Hetmyer. Always being pigeonholed based on data to bat the last 3, because that's where his record is the strongest. But I still feel he has the capability to play a role batting in the middle. And if not given the chance, then he wouldn't be able to achieve that. So just for the likes of Rinku Singh, Andre Russell, to probably at times be afforded the opportunity to bat higher and to impact the game.
I think Russell's not getting many balls to bat. Why? I mean, it's just a food for thought. Why can't he just open the innings?
Exactly.
Why can't he open the innings? I mean, you have put Narayan saying that, okay, if he comes off, it's a bonus. Yeah. But what if Russell comes off opening the innings? Yeah. Have they even thought about that?
And just to add to what you were saying, Andre Russell has
because they have enough finishers when you look at that. They have enough batting.
Correct.
They have Iyer, they have Rinku.
46 balls faced, and Daren brought up the contrast with Delhi, who also have Tristan Stubbs, who they utilize a certain way, but Tristan Stubbs has faced 132 balls, 10 games in, which is, I guess, fair value for a finisher. Andre Russell facing 46 balls when you're 10 games into the campaign.
Yeah, 100%. I think he needs to be given more time to bat. Sometimes, just because you feel that they are good to score in the last 3 overs or 2 overs, I think you pigeonhole them. Shimron Hetmyer is a great case. Nicholas Puran this season, you see the returns when he bats number 3. So why not? You put them in. They are good enough players to find a way to score runs.
Rayudu's point on Russell potentially even opening is all the more interesting given what we're seeing happen with Sunil Narayan. Of course it worked, and how, last year. But I think 10 games is solid enough evidence to see that it's not quite working out.
Yeah, and then the context as well of that situation. You had QDK scoring 97, winning a game, and then in the next 6 innings scoring 45 runs. So there's an issue there with productivity with the other partner. Then you brought in Gurbaz for a couple of games. He hasn't really fired, albeit in the game that was rained out. So the opportunity presented itself. You know, at times I think instinct and gut has to go with that sort of decision where you come with that novel approach and you allow that to work for your team.
Do you feel Russell opening is a viable option? Is it something
Oh,
that
maybe-
can actually...
or maybe
I
even
get what
three.
you're saying, but I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like Darren's thoughts on...
Yeah.
Because the IPL universe has only now seen Andre Russell
Yeah.
as that one pigeonholed role.
Let's take the argument of Sunil Narayan. When Gautam Gambhir came, what were the credentials that gave the rationale for Sunil Narayan opening the batting again? I've been tracking him, even in the Caribbean in T20 cricket, his average was sub 10 as an opener. But look at how that sort of trust and investment in him paid great dividends for KKR last season. And that is where I think opportunities are for teams, especially in a tournament where the margins for error is so narrow. You have the best of the best players here. So, you know, as Wasim said, you give them the opportunity, they'll find a way. And that is where I want to see more teams sort of go in terms of strategy.
And when we think of what's changed from last season to now, of course, Narayan's batting, a big part of it. There were interesting comments in the lead up to this game from Harshit Rana, who said that he misses the aura that Gautam Gambhir brought to the setup. Now, Narayan himself had a lot of credit that he gave to Gambhir for instilling in him the confidence and saying that it doesn't matter what happens, you will be our opener for this season. Is Narayan missing Gambhir?
I think so. I think sometimes when you succeed, you miss that environment. You know, you miss that continuity. I think even last season, I feel they went with a mindset they are 0 for 1. You know, Narayan, if he scores runs, that's a bonus. If it doesn't, we'll play like we are playing with the 9 wickets. I think this season they are expecting Narayan to score runs. You know, that's probably the difference. You know, he's expected to do the same things which he did last year. That's not going to happen because the way he plays. So I think Gambhir brought that. You know, whether he fails, whether he succeeds, they're going to go with that same team more or less. You know, it all depends on the results. But I think the continuity, that backing was there. Sometimes when you lose, you can't afford to do that as a franchise. You know, you need to make a change. We have seen CSK do that. CSK was hardly, you know, were known to do that. We have seen 17 players in the first 4 or 5 games. So when you lose, you can't do that, unfortunately. Last year, everything was clicking. So, you know, everything was looking, you know, hunky-dory.
What is the best use of Sunil Narayan? If you accept that this isn't working, what does Narayan the batter then offer?
I think Sunil Narayan being in the 11 itself is a privilege and a luxury with what he does with the ball.
Yeah, I mean specifically with the bat.
So when you have about 8 or 9 batters in the side and when Narayan is not clicking, so all you can do is, you know, just put him down for a few games. And then, you know, when he really thinks that he has found his rhythm or he is confident, maybe give him a game in the middle sometime. But they have enough players. Raghuvanshi is someone who looks really good, who can open the innings, who looks like a compact player and who can play good cricketing shots. So I think that's where I feel they have missed the trick, and also they're confusing a lot of their middle order batsmen because nobody knows who's walking in. Because as a middle order batsman, it's very important that you know for sure that you're walking into that time or that overs or 14 to 17, okay, this is my time. They've not been able to plan their innings. They look a lot more confused. There's no clarity. I think too many chefs spoil the broth is what is happening there.
Also, what that move would do, as Rayudu points out, that's just one of the names of a lot of batters who you feel could benefit from being at least one position upwards. Anil Kumble was on the couch for the last KKR game and he said Venkatesh Iyer will thrive if he opens. And you can perhaps point to quite a few individuals who will benefit from going at the top.
Yeah, I mean, when those two openers, I mean, Gurbaz or Narayan opens, then the number 3 is an issue, whether Ajinkya Rahane walks in or whether Suryavanshi walks in. So you delay the entry point for Venkatesh Iyer, then you delay it for, Rinku Singh, then obviously Andre Russell. So there's a lot of issues. So if Suryavanshi opens, it becomes very evident that, maybe Ajinkya will bat at number 3 and Venkatesh Iyer can come at number 4. It makes it much more easier.
You know what, let's also make it easier for all of you. We have such a lot of tactical nous on this couch. Let's bring out that 11, the KKR batting 11 this is. And I want to ask all of you, how would you line up your top 4 to optimize what KKR can do with the bat. Let's start with you, Daren.
So, because Rovman Powell is playing alongside Andre Russell, I would not want to waste that capacity. So I'll be using one of the two, maybe at number 3, number 4. Sunil Narine, to me, is not in the best of form to open the batting. All due respect to what he's achieved. So Sunil Narine, for me, will be floating down the order to finish the innings. So in that instance, because they've invested in Gurbaz, I'll go with Gurbaz and maybe Raghuvanshi or maybe Venkatesh Iyer because he scored 100 against MI, opening the batting. So I'll probably go with him. Give him a chance to get his rhythm because he can revert to batting in the middle. So I'll probably go Narine, Raghuvanshi, Rahane, who's been very consistent at number 3, allow him to continue batting at number 3, and then possibly use Andre Russell or Rovman Powell at number 4 alongside Raghuvanshi so that he can control the innings if they've lost a few wickets and has to bat spin.
Rayudu, do you agree with that? And also, what would be your ideal entry points for the rest of the batters after that?
I think for me, Venkatesh Iyer opening for sure. And number 3, if it is in the power play, then definitely Ajinkya Rahane. But if it is outside the power play, I would go with either Rinku Singh or Russell. Because you want a left or a right-hander, somebody who can really take on the bowling at that number. Because even if they get out, you have enough strength there to follow and look at that. I mean, it's a dream to have a 11 like that. Can't believe that these guys are struggling in this IPL.
Batting coach, are you signing off on those plans?
Well, if Narayan is not opening, then I'm opening with Suryavanshi and Gurbaz.
Raghuvanshi.
Yeah. Number 3, Ajinkya. Number 4, Venkatesh Iyer. Number 5, I mean, after 12 overs, Andre Russell is going in for me, no matter what. And then it depends. You've got Rinku, Roman Powell and Ramandeep are my, death over batters for last 3-4 overs. So that will be my plan.
I also love the poetic slip of tongue. Suryavanshi is still in all our minds.
Everybody wants Suryavanshi.
Who doesn't want Suryavanshi? But yes, we were referring to Ankush Raghuvanshi. All right then. Will be interesting to see how KKR actually line up. We do know that their management tend to tune into our shows. So let's see, if not in this game, maybe sometime later in the season if they make some changes. But for the moment, our focus is on the start of the game. Let's quickly set things up on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents Power Play Conversations. Right, can confirm it is Narayan and Gurbaz who are walking out. So hopefully word and that clip reaches the KKR camp soon enough. But now that they are persisting with the same, you have to consider that Delhi in the power play have been having their own troubles with the ball. We've seen Akshar Patel bowl 3 out of the 6 in the last 2 games. Do you expect that to continue here, Rayudu?
Not if Narayan is around, especially with the new ball. He can be quite dangerous. I think the fast bowlers will be the way to go up for Delhi, at least in the power play.
Now the problem there, Daren, is that even Mitchell Starc, after that phenomenal start, has tapered off a bit, and in the power play, he's conceding at 11s.
Well, you see, for me, when you look at most teams, they've been scoring in excess of 50 with regularity. For me, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I would want him to probably take 1 or 2 wickets in that power play and push this KKR batting lineup back and expose that middle order. They've struggled a bit in the middle, so I will gamble the extra runs from Mitchell Starc and probably try to push him to swing the ball, go for that fast, full wicket-to-wicket Yorker and dismiss Narine and put some crisis in this KKR batting lineup.
And rely on that other cricketing skill of coming up against a former side and just being more amped up.
Yeah. Sending a message, that you should miss me. I should have been there.
Wasim, before I get innings predictions, I want you to predict how you see this power play panning out.
65 for 2.
65 for 2. So
KKR.
both teams getting something out of it.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you then give us the first innings total as well?
190.
190, which is what, I'll inform you, Akshar Patel has said this pitch looks like to him, if that's of any use. Rayudu.
I think very close, but 180, 185.
185. Daren?
I'll go a little bit lower, 180. I feel that, they're still working out how they'll use the power of Powell and Russell. They can overcook it too, so I'll stay more on the conservative side.
All right, so 180 to 190, it's all very close, even as the first ball of the innings Mitch Stark to Ramanullah Gurbaz goes away for 4. Anyone wants any changes?
No, I think it's KKR's night.
All right. Okay. That will do something to Forecaster. You can keep an eye out on the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app to catch what we expect is the first innings total. We will be back at halftime with these fine gentlemen. Wasim, Rayudu, Daren, thank you so much. Look forward to your company through the rest of this evening. Be sure to join us at halftime on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout. But as we go out, it's time to continue keeping track of what our Fab 4 on ESPN Cricket Info Crickcaster powered by Nexa are up to. Nakul Sharma is one of those 4 finalists. Let's see what he's filed for us on the way out.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
मैं आ गया हूँ फरीदाबाद के नाहर सिंह स्टेडियम के बाहर, जहाँ पर एक वक्त पे कोई भी बच्चा क्रिकेटर बन सकता था सिर्फ 1 रुपए का फॉर्म भर के। और उसके बाद कोच कहते बेटा दुकान से तुम्हें जर्सी मिल जाएगी 250-300 रुपए में, वहाँ से ले आना। उसी दुकान से तुम्हें शूज़ भी मिल जाएंगे 300 रुपए में। और इतना ही नहीं, 2500 से 3000 में एक सॉलिड क्रिकेट किट भी बन करके तैयार हो जाएगी। और ये सिर्फ कोचिंग का पैटर्न नहीं था, ये क्रिकेट के लिए प्यार था, एक जुनून था, एक जज्बा था। 19 जनवरी 1988 को यहाँ पर पहला ओडीआई मैच होस्ट किया गया, इंडिया वर्सेस वेस्ट इंडीज। स्टेडियम की सीट्स फुल थी और मोहिंदर अमरनाथ ने इसी मौके पर एक शानदार शतक जड़ दिया। और दोस्तों ये वही मैदान है जहां पर 83 वर्ल्ड कप विनिंग कैप्टन कपिल देव ने अपना लास्ट ओडीआई मैच खेला था साल 1994 में। साल 1998 में शारजाह में सचिन की डेजर्ट स्टॉर्म आई थी, लेकिन 2 साल बाद फरीदाबाद के नाहर सिंह स्टेडियम में एक और स्टॉर्म आई थी, लेकिन सचिन के बैट के साथ नहीं, सचिन की बॉल के साथ। 2006 में यहाँ पर आखिरी ओडीआई मैच खेला गया था इंडिया और इंग्लैंड के बीच। 2019 तक यहाँ पे काफी सारे डोमेस्टिक मैचेस भी खेले गए हैं, लेकिन 2019 में इस स्टेडियम का मेकओवर शुरू हो गया था। देश की जनता को इसी बात का इंतजार है कि कब इस स्टेडियम का रेनोवेशन खत्म होगा और कब हम वापस स्टेडियम के अंदर मैचेस देखने जाएंगे। तब तक के लिए we are keeping our fingers crossed.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.